So we're in the Euston HQ in England with CEO of Cvent, Reggie Aggarwal. So welcome, Reggie, and let's start at the very beginning. How did you first get into the events industry?
Well, it's a great question, Paul, because I used to be a corporate lawyer, as you know, and what happened was in 1996 I started an association. It was a CEO Association for Technology Executives, and it was new. This is way before the dot-com bubble. And when I started the group, we were running 4 or 5 events a year, and I was organizing the events. I was the founder of the group, and then we ended up scaling as the technology boom started hitting. We started organizing 40 or 50 events a year, and we had about 2,000 or 3,000 members who were all CEOs of tech companies. And so I ended up becoming, unbeknownst, I ended up becoming a meeting planner, and I started spending more time doing that than being a corporate lawyer.
Yeah. And how did you move from using Excel and sticky notes into the more modern technology that you're now famous for?
Yeah, so basically, it's very simple when you start a business. It's really you find a pain point, and you just create the aspirin. And so I was in the middle of it because I was, executive director, I was the president of the group, I was the meeting planner, and the admin, because I was doing everything. And my tools, as you mentioned, were Excel, Outlook, and yellow sticky notes. And so using that, it was very difficult and cumbersome. As we started to scale the events, and the frequency and the size, I realized that I found a pain point, and it was very manual. So I said, hey, we got to come up with the aspirin, and that was Cvent. So I just found said we need some software to automate this whole process.
So Reggie, the early years not without challenges, no doubt. What are the main lessons that you would have learned and maybe pass on to some other people out there starting out as entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I hope you have a long time, because we certainly have a lot of lessons that we learned, especially in the beginning. So so basically what happened is had the idea, found this aspirin, and then wanted to get like-minded co-founders to help. So quickly got a small team together and started Cvent. And so in the beginning, it was self-funded. I funded most of the company and lived in my parents' basement, the classic way of doing a startup. And we were growing the business nicely. But then we're in the middle of the dot-com boom, and all of a sudden, $1 billion of venture capital went into our space, which was back at the time called online event registration. So this $1 billion was primarily out of the West Coast in Silicon Valley in the U.S. And so then we quickly realized we had to grow. So we quickly went from 6 employees to 125. We raised some venture capital, and then things were going great. We're rolling out a product, getting a lot of press, doing a lot of great things. But then something happened. The perfect storm hit. September 11th, the dot-com meltdown, and reality hit. And we'd raised $17 million, and we blew through $16.6 million of it. We had $400,000 in the bank, and we built a big fat $1.4 million company. And so we weren't really very good entrepreneurs, obviously, and I certainly wasn't a great CEO. So then we unfortunately had to cut 80% of our staff because we were facing bankruptcy. So we cut 80% of our staff in 2001 and part of 2002. It was an extraordinarily difficult time for Cvent.
How many staff did you have at the time?
So we had we went to 125, and we cut 80% of them. We went down to about 24, 25 people. Extraordinarily difficult time. And but frankly, what happened was that I got really lucky that my team stuck by me. So our leaders stayed and said, hey, we're going to make this work. And really what I will tell you, the lessons we learned is it really gets down to fundamentals. And so for the next 2 or 3 years, we were kind of the walking dead. We didn't grow. We were just kind of 25 people, maybe 26, 27, and we were growing very steady, but at least we were not, declining. And the 3 things we realized is just say, hire the best people, build the best products, and service your customers. That's the secret sauce. And that's what we did. And in that the culture of Cvent that it is today was formed in those 2 or 3 years. Because we learned to focus on fundamentals and don't get caught up in fancy things. And that same culture and ethos is what's carried us to, now we're 2,500 employees around the world and 14 offices.
Yes. How would you assure clients who see a huge gap opening up between the space that you now occupy, the 2 big companies come together, and then the huge fall away to companies such as eTouches? There seems to me to be a big gap there. How would you assure clients that you're not some huge monopoly running roughshod?
Sure. Yeah. So listen, the good news is that innovation is not just the word of the day. It's anyone can be disruptive or disrupted. So I think the first thing is that actually our biggest competitor is manual processes. So this is a huge industry. $565 billion is spent a year globally on meetings and events. It's a massive industry. The penetration with technology is so little. The second thing is manual processes is still the way most people do it, using Outlook, Excel, and they do it manually. And then there's lots of competitors in our different areas, and it's a very, there's over 2,500 technology companies in the mice space. So innovation's thriving, new companies are coming all the time, and I'll tell you, what we've learned is you always have to be paranoid, which means because you could always be disrupted. So what I love about that is it always pushes us to invest and innovate, which is why we are growing pretty rapidly. We have 240 open positions right now in the company, and we're investing heavily in R&D and to make sure that we're creating the best products.
And what new products can we expect to see coming on stream soon?
Yeah, so some of the ones we've really focused on over the last few years, I'll just start, is, of course, mobile is the big thing. Everything's changing with mobile. The second thing I would tell you is on-site tools. So what's on-site tools? It's the tools that help you when the attendee actually comes to the event and help them what we call to create a digital journey. And what I mean by that is maybe document their digital footprints. So when you go to a website, Paul, everyone knows that wherever you went on a website with all the cookies. Well, why haven't people done that when you spend 3 days at the conference? That's a lot of money and time. Why don't we see where they've gone, what sessions they went to, so you can map their digital footprint. And then you can use that to better understand what that attendee did. So like, for example, at our user conference, the one I mentioned, Cvent Connect is our user conference, we're able to tell what sessions people went to, so then we can know that what products they're interested in and maybe send them more information. So I think from a new product viewpoint, for us it's exciting that we've been investing heavily in the mobile, the on-site space, and then now with the merger with Lanyon, we're able to round out our platform. We have room block management with Passkey, and then which is their product that helps that part of the business, and then they have another part called Business Transient. So we've been able to pick up a lot of products to continue to round out our platform. So we have some innovation coming through new products, and then of course with the merger we picked up a lot of new products, and so we're excited.
And I assume the delegates for Connect in Europe will be able to come along and hear all this first.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're doing our Cvent Connect Europe, and then part of it is to obviously talk about innovation and showcase some of our new products that we have.
Yes. What about the faithful core product of venue finding, that you're so famous for? How's that side going?
Yeah, so we call that now our hospitality cloud, and it's our supplier network, and it's a place where you can find venues anywhere in the world. So to give you a sense, we combined with us and Lanyon will have about 15 billion of MICE business go through the tool in just 17 alone. Historically, we put in close to 50 billion, and so it's definitely the market leader. We're continuing to invest heavily in it because that's always a pain point for any type of planner to find a good venue, and so we're going to continue to invest very aggressively in it. And then and combining our two organizations, again, we're taking the best of both products, and the Cvent product will continue to improve.
And just how fast is this market moving? Because you're right at the forefront of event tech. Sure. There's no room for mistakes really, and products can become dated very quickly. Yeah. How do you monitor that situation?
So first talking about the market, the entire MICE space, and depending on where you're looking at, what countries or what regions, but let's just say it's growing, kind of the GNP. Let's just pretend that, right? The GNP growth of a typical country. But the difference is technology is moving much more rapidly because it's taking the offline processes online. So the tailwinds of technology is moving very quickly.
Well, I think we've established, Reggie, that you're the father of a huge company here that's growing strong with plenty big pipeline of new products, which those of us in the UK industry in particular are keen to see come out here. But who do you turn to for advice yourself? And you have so many people turning to you, but in a quiet moment where you want to maybe sound an idea of someone, where do you go? And who was your original mentor?
Yeah, well, listen, I've had a lot of mentors, literally from school teachers to professors. People took a keen interest and an extra special interest in you has been certainly a very positive part of my life. And I try to return the favor, mentoring people also and entrepreneurs. But on a personal level, I think if I had to look, there's 2 or 3 people that I've looked at, or groups of people. So, and besides, I just have so many different people that have done stuff. But one is our board of directors. It's been amazing what board of directors we've had historically, and I really do value their advice because when they're aligned at something and any kind of decision, then I know it's the right decision because they have such a diverse experience. The second group is actually my colleagues. We have some really bright people here, and I don't view myself as a CEO. I'm just one of the people here, and it's not just the leaders here. We have some great leaders. It's people who are, been in the industry a long time. It's people who've had different experiences at different companies. But I'm telling you, we have such a great, diverse group here. Most of the times we make our decisions just talking to each other and, the people within the company, and I really mean that. And then, I'll just tell you, my parents gave me a lot of grounding. And, I can't ever forget the way they taught me. I remember when we were about to go bankrupt, and we were growing really fast. My mom said to me, "Shouldn't you, Reggie, build a product that costs, that you sell for more than what it costs?" And I was like, "Ah, Mom, you know what you're talking about. It's all about market share." She goes, "I don't know. For 5,000 years, that business rule seemed to work, Reggie." And I remember her saying that to me, and I was like, this is a different era. And look what happened, the dot-com meltdown. So, you learn something from everyone's, but I'm lucky to surround myself with some great people to be mentors.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you.
That's fantastic.